Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Healthy Living, Happy Midlife. Today, I have a special guest, my friend Ana Tootle is here with us. Let me tell you a little about Ana. She is a Miami native, lucky gal. She lives and works on the beautiful tropical island of Key Biscayne, and she's been there for a long time. So she is someone who gets elevated, let's say, in paradise. She is a foodie at her core, as I am, as well as a mindfulness instructor who believes that when we join together in community, we can create miracles. Her passion for life has been expressed in many ways as a spinning instructor, a laughter yoga teacher, writer, cook, mindfulness instructor, and Nick, very exciting, she is the president of Fem City Miami, which is how Ana and I met. We are both in the Fem City global group, um, which is just an amazing women's group that has introduced me to so many beautiful women, beautiful souls, and people who have really just giving me so much and uplifted me. What else about Ana do we want to say? She finds nature to be healing, which is why she enjoys selling her homemade pumpkin bread. We'll talk about that a little later. Every Saturday at the Key Biscayne Farmers Market, which also helps support Feeding South Florida. Ana, thank you so much, my friend, for being here. So this is who you are on paper, and it really does describe who you are. But tell our audience, who is Ana? If they were to meet Ana, who are you, my friend?
Thank you so much for having me here, Denise. Indeed, our global community at FemCity is really, really special. We are separated by zip codes and by miles, but I feel like we are all like in an amazing sisterhood and we meet on a weekly basis. And I don't know, it's a fabulous, fabulous tribe. Every time we hang up our Zoom meetings, I'm inspired. I learn something new every time. So the Ana Tootle is just that. On paper, that's who I am. I am a Miami native, like you said, a foodie. I was a spinning instructor for 16 and a half years. And so health and wellness has always been at the core of my work. And I was there when, meditation was surging and people were talking about it. And just at a time when I was raising kids and working and eating well and exercising, I had to add meditation to the mix. And I thought, really? Like, who has time for this? And what is the big deal? But the research was inevitable. In other words, people were happier, their blood pressure was going down, the mental health was improving, on and on. So I thought, all right, let me give it a try. And according to me, I failed miserably, miserably. I would fall asleep. My mind would wander. I would think of my to-do list and how many emails I had to respond to. And I was really hard on myself, really hard on myself. And so I was like, doesn't matter. Show up, show up, show up. And so now I know the benefits and I can't live without it. So been there, done that. I can relate. And so that's why my classes address mindfulness for the busybody, right? For the person who doesn't quite have too much time, but it's enough of the effort. So we address meditation, gratitude, affirmations, and journaling. And how do you weave that in a week's time, given everything that you have to do? That's it. And so I tell people, don't judge, show up, do your best, move on. And then, but show up. And then show up the next day and show up the next time. I am a foodie at heart. Cooking for me is therapy, just like spinning was therapy when I was raising kids. And I love it. I love it. I'm a foodie, and that ties into my baking a difference. So, about a decade ago, I decided, I'm going to make these humble, special little loaves. Nothing out of this world. It's pumpkin bread with semi-sweet chocolate chips, good, wholesome ingredients, and I sell them. And since then, I have donated $1 for every loaf sold to Feeding South Florida, which here in South Florida addresses 4 counties, all the way from Broward to um, Monroe County, and that means for people who don't live in this area, Fort Lauderdale to the Keys, right? So it's a vast space, right? And Feeding
Huge.
South Florida falls under the umbrella of Feeding America. So that's my way of donating something I'm passionate about, and I respect everybody's passions. I encourage people to pursue their passions. Maybe it's breast cancer awareness, or maybe it's environmental issues or pet shelters, whatever that is. For me, I don't think anyone should go hungry, right? And so that is my small contribution. And so, given the elevated classes, the pumpkin bread, and then president of the board for Fem City, I always say that the common denominator is community. And in this digital world, which I'm not knocking, thanks to that and technology, we're
Right.
speaking here today. I think there's even, especially after COVID, like a hunger
Yeah.
and a thirst for community. So I have a heartfelt belief. I always say that in community, we elevate the individual. And so I love connecting people. I think that we grow just like we did in my sunrise gratitude class here this morning on Key Biscayne and the beaches of Key Biscayne. It was great. We took a couple of people that were there for something else, adopted them, and they came into the group. They added so much value. And that's who I am. That's in a nutshell who I am. I love music. I love cooking. I love really connecting people so that we get the nuggets, the golden nuggets from everybody, pull them together, and then everybody wins.
Absolutely. I think whenever I've been in a room with you, whether it's a Zoom room or physically, like we were back in November, you walk in the room and it just brightens, it just lightens.
Oh,
Your smile, your there, you have an air about you. Um, and there aren't many people who have that ability to do it so gracefully and not even know that that's really what they're doing, right? It's
thank you.
such a
That's really
part of
kind.
who you are. And one of my favorite thing, my favorite memories of you is laughter yoga. I have never laughed so much and so hard in many, many years.
Oh my
And
God. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. Little scary at first for me getting on the stage to do it, but I was like, here we go. Let's just do
but
it.
what it brought to my attention was how little we actually allow ourselves to just laugh and to just let go and be free.
Correct. Correct.
And
Yeah, the laughter
that's
yoga
why,
has a lot of health benefits, a lot. It really does. It
yeah,
reminds us, I think, and they teach you this in the course that I got certified with, that children laugh like hundreds of times more in one given day than the adults do. And then, the conditioning and we grow up and we get more serious and that kid laughter of like when you're watching a comedy or something funny is so good for us on every level, from
it
mental
really
to
does.
cellular organs.
And I think it goes well with the concept of mindfulness for the busy body because we think we're being mindful, but we're being rigid when we're doing what we're supposed to do. And you don't laugh unless, laughter is for children. Um,
Correct.
and so I'd like for you to talk a little bit more about laughter and mindfulness and the benefits because
Course,
there's so
of
many things
course.
that you do that give people health benefits that they may not understand they even need.
Right. So that approach, what you're saying is so true, Denise. We are almost robotic about, our responsibilities and given, the age group that you address, midlife, many of us are in that sandwich generation, right? Just when
True.
we're on the edge of taking care of kids, boom, our parents get ill. And so it's like, ah, we got to take it. So my point is that we're mustering a lot of strength for other people, right? For your kids, for your spouse, now for aging parents. I have a father with Alzheimer's. That was a huge hit. That was 2019. And 6, 7 years ago, it was an enormous hit. So I think that I approach the mindfulness like I used to approach my spin class. People would say, oh my gosh, I can't do spinning. It looks so hard. People come out of there sweating. My whole approach is have fun, have a good time. Like we already have our obligations that we have to do, right? And somebody at Sunrise Gratitude this morning was saying, what woke me up was that I just felt robotic, wake up, go to work, come back, make dinner. And And she was like, there's got to be more to life, right? And there's got to be more than these obligations. I don't want to sound like obligations are hard, but they can become
Can.
robotic, right?
Mhm.
And so we need to take the effort and the time to add to our lives. And that could mean for one person weaving, like, doing knitting. For the next person, it could be cooking, like it is for me. It could be whatever. So I think like pursue your hobbies, pursue your passions, dance in your living room with the music blaring, even if the neighbors are watching. Like you have to incorporate that because just like I teach in my classes, if you don't take these steps of mindfulness, and it's true, I address meditation, gratitude, affirmations, and journaling. But if you don't do this for yourself, who's going to do it for you? And so I say well-meaning parents and society and schools kind of never taught us to tap into that inner wisdom. That inner wisdom is found through meditation. That's your quickest way to get there. But you will often hear people say, when I'm fishing and I'm out on a boat on a lake, you know, for my husband, fishing is just like that's a reset button for him. For me, it's yoga and cooking and hiking and biking. For the next person, it could be something else. So carve out that time. Carve out that time. Does the class address the four steps that I mentioned? Yes. But aside from that, have fun. You want to go to an exercise class, not because you have to, and it's like, I gotta go. Oh, go to one where you're like, I'm so excited. If that one doesn't work, move on to the next one. Because you know what, Denise? Life is too serious already. And circling back to the laughter yoga, it reminds us it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be so serious. Was my dad's Alzheimer's um disease serious? Yeah, that's serious. I had to figure out his life on every level. Somebody who could not remember what they just said or did. Every level. That's hard. It's a lot, you know? Okay, so you address those things. But when you have the time or the possibility, I always say, if people are standing at Starbucks waiting 10 minutes for a latte. You know what? You can carve out the time, to sit quiet in quiet space in the morning before life begins. And so when you give that to yourself, you become like a beacon of light for other people and you bring out the best in others and everybody wins, right? Everybody wins.
That is so true. And I think what I've heard time and time again from people when it comes to when they think of meditation is they have to have an hour and they have to sit on the floor cross-legged and and then there are all the excuses. Well, I can't cross my legs, my knees hurt or blah blah blah. I don't have an hour. I just think before people even really understand what meditation can be and what it can do, they've already dismissed it because they've done so many things in their life that they don't want to do. And adding one more thing that they could do,
I was there. I know. I understand. I was there. Totally get it.
and I do too. I go through periods depending on one, where I am in the world, time of year. I spend much more time in the summer sitting outside in nature, what I consider in meditation because I'm sitting there quietly, listening to nature, breathing the fresh air. I'm in Minnesota, so in the middle of the winter, when I am here at home, that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm not sitting out there for a half an hour, maybe an hour enjoying, but I still have time.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was something that I had to learn, like, how do I bring that inside?
Yeah.
And no, I don't do it in the wintertime. I don't meditate for a half an hour, but I know I can meditate for 15 minutes. And
Yeah.
sometimes in the middle of the day, if I'm stressed, I can step away and sit quietly for 5 minutes. And
That's
people
right.
will say, well, that's not meditation. Well, maybe it is.
Of course it is.
So
Of course it is.
well, what is meditation? I guess that's a question to kind of rewind and kind of dive into. Like, what exactly is meditation?
So meditation is when you hit the reset button, when you hit the pause button. My course addresses a discipline. And by discipline, I don't mean by hard. I mean discipline by showing up, right? So that's why I say, don't shoot for perfection. Don't judge. It's not going to get you anywhere, right? You don't need a meditation pillow. You don't need an altar with incense and candles. And if you want that, knock yourself out. I sit in my bed. My husband is snoring next to me. I don't shoot for perfection. David G., the master meditation teacher, says, don't forget your, what does he say? Uh, meditate. I just blanked out. But anyways, he says, oh, RPMs, rise, pee, meditate.
Know that.
Rise,
Yes.
run to the restroom, and meditate. Meaning, you get up. And, the reason why I encourage to tap into your inner technology before your outer technology is simple. Because once you grab that, your brain is already, I have to. So before life begins, and that could be either grabbing your phone, jumping in the shower, drinking your coffee, running to make breakfast. If you have kids, carpool, backpacks, lunch boxes, whatever that is, set your alarm 10, 15 minutes beforehand. Nothing complicated. 10 or 15 minutes is nothing. Make it 5 if that makes it easier. Sit in the most comfortable corner of the couch because that's your favorite spot in the house. Great. You have a rocking chair that you love in another corner of the house, go sit there. But just make sure you show up every morning. And if you do it before life begins, it's so much easier. Why? We've just come from non-resistant state, which is sleep. We're just non-resistant. Before life begins, there's that gap. And in that gap, when you meditate, it's not to say that your mind won't race and you won't think. I mean, all things can go through your mind. How did that movie end? And I wonder what she meant. And oh, yeah, that email. How am I going to respond? Like, that's normal, right? And we all sit there sometimes. And sometimes I'll be like, Anna, shut up. Just shut up. Just zip. Okay. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. And so sometimes people will have apps that will help them focus. Some people will focus on the sound of a fan, like a constant sound. And for many people, it's as easy as breathing, like inhale 4 breaths, exhale 6. If that's what works for you, do it. And other times I'm eager to meditate. And other times I'm like, I got a busy day, but it's like, yeah. But if you don't, you start doing it and then you don't, which is what happened to me. I was off kilter. I could just feel like, and it's not that there's going to be fireworks and you're going to have these huge downloads of wow, inspiration. No, it happens afterwards. And I always liken it to an exercise regimen. So, for example, in the moment that you're doing a spin class, Zumba, lifting weights, sure, in that moment, you're toning your muscles, right? You're burning calories, but the magic happens afterwards. You start making better food choices. You have better energy. You have more energy. You sleep better, on and on. So the nuances begin to add up. The same thing happens with a mindfulness and meditation practice. You're like, hey, wait a second. I had that burning question that was like, boop, and now the answer just slides in because you opened up that valve we were talking about to the higher wisdom. You see, when we wake up and we go into like fast forward mode, we don't give ourselves that time to listen. So once you tap into that and you honor it, if you will, it's like, okay, you and I are going to communicate today. We're going to communicate today and your intuition improves. You know what? Don't take that road. Boom, there's an accident. Turns out later you learn there was an accident on the road. Thank goodness I didn't turn right. I turned left. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Right. The other thing is, for example, that person that used to irritate you so much, they used to rub you the wrong way. They don't have that hold on you anymore because you have an elevated perspective. Why? You tapped into that higher wisdom. So I always say, imagine if we were taught this in schools from the time we were in kindergarten all the way up. What a different world we would live in because as adults, looking outside of ourselves, which is kind of what we're trained or taught to do, that can look like another glass of wine, one more cookie. Let me do a little bit more shopping or gambling or pornography, whatever that is. Meditation and mindfulness forces you to kind of look in. And I think that sometimes when people are forced to look in, it can be scary. Maybe they don't like what they see, but at least they're taking a step in the right direction to see why don't you like what you see and how can we remedy that? You see, until you tap into that inner wisdom, we're all born with it. It will be with us forevermore and it's never going to leave us. So you might as well use it to your advantage so that you can become wiser and you can become smarter and you can become a beacon of light for other people. The world is a better place because you're better. It's that simple. And again, my whole approach, don't make it complicated. Don't make it out of your way, but you've got to show up. Don't judge. Don't shoot for perfection. If you only did 3 minutes today, who cares? Tomorrow you'll do eight, or maybe you'll do five. Listen, I have sat with an intention of meditating for I don't know, under 10 minutes and 40 minutes have passed because I'm just so like, and then I'm like, oh, shoot. But then I'm another person, right? I'm another person. Keep it simple, show up. That's it.
Mhm. You said something that I was going to mention, and I think it's important to tap into this a little bit more. Um, for those of us in midlife, women in midlife, we are in a transition, right? So this is the perfect time in our lives to walk into this new person, this person that we're still becoming, right? I think we feel that we've learned everything, but we're not. We're always becoming, we're always growing. And in midlife, and especially during this menopause transition, we get to a point where we know we want something different. We don't know what that is or how to get there. So we start looking outside, and we're looking, and maybe that's why people are scrolling on social media, looking at everybody else who has this perfect life, right? Or looking to some guru who's going to tell them what they need to do. Meditation brings that here.
Totally. Amen.
And for our listeners, it's imperative that we know who we are.
Yeah.
And once we know that, then we can better understand the things that we want.
Yeah.
And just then we can tap better into that energy, that wisdom.
Yeah. And to that end, because the work that you do is so powerful, so beautiful, I would like people to know that it's never too late, right? I never want somebody thinking, you know what, I'm almost 60. Forget that. I never did it. Not, that ship has sailed. Like, no, no. Like, you still have the rest of your life to live. Make sure it's filled with quality.
Mhm.
And I love the work that you do because I remember this ties into my work in the sense that I know exactly that feeling of speaking of sandwich generation, when our third and final child was 6 months from leaving the nest and going away to college, all I could think of was, this is great. Now I can focus on my work. I love scaling my business. Like anyone who knows me knows that I love my work. So I was super excited. And that Thanksgiving in 2019, I got the call from my aunts and uncles saying, you need it. And he wasn't even here. He was in Colombia in South America. He had gone back after 40 something years here. And they were like, you need to take, I'm an only child. So the pressure was on. Like
Oh,
it
yeah.
all fell on. I didn't have a
All
sibling
on
say,
you.
hey, and I wasn't even in Miami. I was in Virginia. I was like, excuse me? They're like, yeah, he's in a hospital. You need to come now. He's got a fever. Doesn't look good. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, ah. And then so all those dreams of, oh, 6 months, Patrick will be gone. And then I can like dive in deeper. And so life hit me like boom. And I was 50. I was 50 years old. So midlife 50, it was like textbook classic
Mhm.
sandwich generation.
All of it
Because for
happening at
me,
once.
Alzheimer, yeah, exactly. Alzheimer's and aging parents, that's people, you know, I'll worry about that one day. One day was like, no, bam, here you go, figure it out. And it was a roller coaster and it was hard. And those difficult lessons really teach us a lot about ourselves. It turns out I have more strength than I knew I had because I didn't have a choice. Like I had to figure it out and I did. And thankfully, he's thriving and doing fantastic today in an ALF, still with Alzheimer's, but doing as good as he can be, right? And so back to your work and what you do for people in midlife, whether you have kids or not. For me, I feel that once I had dad settled on every level, his ALF, his meds, his doctors, his finances, everything, his real estate, all the details that you have to take care of. I was like, okay, now can we move forward? And if I look back, because for me, in my case, I really, as an only child, I wanted my three kids to be close in age, lean on each other, because that's something I never had, right? And so I was there for them a lot. Yes, I worked, but my focus was them. And then it was like, okay, once you guys are off, then it's about me and my work because I love my work. And so then I was able to kind of turn around, and a part of me felt like, ooh, I wonder if I had started the work that I'm doing now decades ago, I would have been further ahead, if you will. But at the same point, Denise, at the same time, I wouldn't have it any other way because then I wouldn't be who I am. Does that make sense?
Yes,
You know?
absolutely.
So
I'm
my point
so
is
glad that
you
you said that.
yeah, so I want people to know like it's never too late, whether it's, you're switching career paths. Maybe you've been in, and I say this at every Fem City Miami gathering when we get together once a month, especially for the people that are coming for the first time. I always say, listen, maybe you were in corporate for decades. Maybe you were a mompreneur, running a business from home while raising kids. Maybe you're starting on a completely new path. Whatever that looks like, we're here to support you. Or maybe it's a combination. Maybe it's a hybrid, right? Of a little bit of each. Whatever that is, it's never too late. It's never too late. Like look at Louise Hay. She wrote her first book at 60, one of the
60.
greatest publishing companies for self-help and empowerment in the world. And there you go. And so I want people to know with your work, midlife, or whatever you're doing, your health is your greatest wealth. So if you think, oh, you know what, shoulda, coulda, woulda done that, it's too late, I can't start. No, do it now. Who cares if you didn't jump on that bandwagon, sooner?
Right. You're
I
going
didn't
to
jump
wake
on
up
a lot of things
tomorrow
sooner.
and
Yeah,
what are you going to do?
exactly. Not care about like you're still worth like I feel after everything I just told you, I feel like this other chapter, this second midlife chapter, it's awesome. It's awesome. I love it. I love it because I feel like I've fulfilled my duties that I chose, right? I chose to have three kids and a big family and um but I also chose my line of work, and all those experiences have made me who I am now. So I can never think, oh my gosh, you're too late. If I thought that way, I would never be inspired to move forward, you know? And
Absolutely.
people that midlife can't think, oh, the end is near, I'm done. No, just
You got a long
starting.
time to go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I see it. And age is just a number anyway.
It is. So I have one more question before we start to wrap up. Where does gratitude and affirmations come in to what we're talking about?
Okay, so gratitude is really, imagine an onion and all the layers that you peel. Gratitude, the more I learn, the more I learn. Aside from, oh yeah, Thanksgiving or what your grandmother said when you were a kid, there's people starving in another part of the world, whatever. It's so much more than that. And basically, gratitude is really important. And just like I say, it's a good time to meditate in the morning because you're in a non-resistant state before life begins. I encourage people to practice gratitude every night. How? Before you doze off, before you, even if your head's already on your pillow, whatever, do a rampage of what went right that day. And it doesn't have to be, oh, I signed the contract, the new lover in the bed, I dropped 10 pounds. No, no, it doesn't have to be any of that. It could be as simple as thank you for the parking spot that I got near the front door. It was awesome. It was raining. It was perfect. Thank you for the stranger who held the door open for me. Thank you for the puppy I ran into at the park. Thank you for the new recipe my friend gave me. It was awesome. I would have never thought of making that. It was delicious. On and on and on and on. Just do a rampage of your day. It doesn't have to be riveting, life changing. And two things happen, Denise. Number one, your vibration elevates. You cannot be grateful and feel crappy at the same time. They're just not, it's incongruent. Like it can't happen at the same time. Number
You
one.
can't have
Number
those two
two,
emotions at the same time.
can't have them at the same time. Number two, the quality of your sleep improves, right? And so what happens with gratitude? Our mood elevates. Who's not up for that? And you begin to magnetically attract more reasons to be grateful because the universe says, okay, I'll give you more. You're feeling
Mhm.
grateful. I'm going to give you more reasons to feel grateful,
Yeah.
which is the same reason why the complainer has more reasons to complain about. It just, we are living proof and a mirror of our thoughts. That's the best way I can. And also, what happens in the morning? You wake up in a better mood and you pick up where you left off. Where did you leave off? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, gratitude is imperative. So, in the morning meditation before life begins, gratitude at night. The affirmations, the queen of affirmations is Louise Hay. May she rest in peace. And affirmations are statements that we say to ourselves. So as opposed to saying, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, successful enough, thin enough, yada, 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 the subconscious
Mhm.
mind is always listening. So we want to
Yeah.
switch that vocabulary. We want to switch those phrases. Life loves me. I live in an abundant universe. I am smart and successful and happy. I make a difference in the world. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever they are, good old fashioned, pen and paper. Those that resonate with you, there's a gazillion apps and affirmation cards out there that you can look up. Dedicate 3 days a week to running through those affirmations. Are you folding laundry on Monday? Keep it simple, you guys. Do you have a standing appointment on Tuesdays? Are you walking to the park every Wednesday to exercise? You turn everything off and you start with your affirmations, whatever resonates with you. Life loves me. I live in an abundance universe. I make a huge difference. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever they are, 3 times a week. That's it. Run through your affirmations. And number four, the journaling. The journaling is fantastic. Also, 3 times a week. Shoot for
Mhm.
1 page, 99-cent notebook from Walgreens or CVS. Maybe that page turns into three. Maybe you get
Mhm.
through half. You don't have to read it. You don't have to share it. Again, don't judge. You show up with those 4 steps, Denise, on a given week and do it, do it, do it. You will be amazed at how much you lean on them. And by the way, when dad fell ill to Alzheimer's and I already had these in place, I can't even tell you. Like if I had not had these, it was a lifeline. And sometimes sitting in a meditation or journaling, I'd be pissed at life. I was like, this sucks. And why me? I was mad at life. I was mad at the world. But guess what? I had a safe space where I could just let all that out and
Right.
heal. And that's where the healing begins because
Mm, mhm.
this
Love that.
pen and this paper are not going to lie. And so there's a real life example of how these practices can really, really help you.
Anna, thank you. I think everything we have talked about today is life changing, uplifting, and
And
that is
easy,
really
easy.
and easy. I mean, they're so simple and they're not time consuming and they really can fit in our day. We just have to make it a priority. Like
Yeah,
make me, make ourselves a priority. And then those
that's
things
it.
fit. It's not a matter of fitting them in. It's a a non-negotiable. Like I do this because it makes me feel good. It uplifts my mood. It helps
Yeah.
me manage my people better, talk to my kids without getting frustrated, whatever it is.
You're a better version of yourself. That's it. And who doesn't win from that? You obviously win, and everyone else around you wins. So imagine if everyone did that and became a better version of themselves. Are you kidding me? It's like it's a
We would
win-win.
live in an amazing world, wouldn't we? We
That's
would.
right.
So to wrap up, I have a couple quickie questions.
Yes.
What is it that you are, something new that you are working on now? And so what is something that you are working on now? Something new and
I
exciting.
have a book on my radar. I have a book on my radar, but what I'm trying to do, Denise, is kind of find a very unique, like you can find information on mindfulness ad nauseum, like I say, endlessly. So I have that on my radar. More speaking engagements. The response, the feedback for the laughter yoga was more than I could have ever asked for. So that may be something I may do more of. And the flip side of all this is that when the new year came around, I decided to kind of surrender a little bit and wait for those answers to come in while I show up, while I still do everything that I do now without putting, you know, hold on loosely and don't let go kind of attitude. Like keep communities connected, or at least my communities connected, and offer value to help in any capacity that I can. And whether that's helping Feeding South Florida, Fem City, Miami, these courses, these mindfulness courses, I think you can't get enough information about that because your health is everything. It's your greatest wealth, and it's worth pursuing, and it's worth repeating, and it's worth taking courses that help you get to those goals so that the other goals are easier to attain, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. That's exciting. That is really exciting. And I know you have a free gift for our guests who are listening.
Yes. So I have my videos. I have these
Mhm.
videos where it's kind of like a general video, kind of like what we discussed, but then the four different steps, right? The four different steps in um, kind of like snippets in further detail in case anyone has any questions, so that you don't feel like, okay, yeah, this is so easy for you because you've been doing it, but how am I supposed to do it? Still easy. You just need a little hand holding, a little guidance, and just remember, show up, smile, don't shoot for perfection, don't judge, and show up again. That's it.
Sounds pretty simple. We just have to make
Yeah,
ourselves the priority, right?
yeah. I'm here to help. I'm here to help.
Awesome. Anna, thank you so much. Make sure I have the link for that and all of your social media and connection links in the show notes. Thank you, my friend, for being here and chatting with
Absolutely.
me. And I I'm just so excited. I felt good before we got on this call. I feel like a million bucks, just
Love it.
lighter and just thank you for your joy and your passion and sharing that with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here today. It's really a pleasure and an honor. Always great seeing you, Denise.
Thank you, my friends. For those of you who are listening, if any part of this video has touched you, resonated with you, please make sure you share with a friend who really needs this message. And if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe, and this way you will get notifications every time there's a new podcast out there. Everyone, have a wonderful day. I leave you with this: healthy living, happy midlife. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of Healthy Living, Happy Midlife. My hope is that today's conversation left you inspired, encouraged, and ready to take the next step toward creating a vibrant, fulfilling life that you deserve. Remember, you don't have to settle for fatigue, brain fog, or frustration. Midlife is not the end of your story, it's the doorway to your next best chapter. And I'm here to help you walk through it with energy, with confidence, and with joy. So if you're ready to take this journey further, I invite you to schedule a free strategy call with me. The link is in the show notes. And together we'll design a plan that works for you at this time in your life, for your body. So be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast platform. Catch the video version on YouTube so you never miss another episode. Share it with a friend who needs to hear that midlife can truly be the most powerful season of her life. Until next time, I'm Denise Stegall, reminding you that healthy living, happy midlife is just possible. It's yours for the